I don't see many.
Good evening. This is Detroit in Black and White presents Reality Strikes with Eric Brown. Today is Monday, August the 25th. And I have joining me this evening, before our first guest come on, Jim Nardoni, the former chief of police in Trenton, Michigan. How you doing today, Jim?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Eric. Thanks for having me on tonight.
I want to thank you for joining me because the focus of tonight's show is police community relations. And then after Captain Tanya Leonard comes on, we will have someone who is a gang interventionist out in the Detroit area. Crime, particularly in the young adult area. You've had a couple people as young as 4 years old, as well as 6 years old, that were killed early on in the summer, and they just have to get a handle on that. So it's going to be interesting talking with Mr. Thompson when he comes on at 9 o'clock, because he has a nice little story to tell. I don't want to steal his thunder based on what he has going on and what he's involved with, but he do have a very interesting story, and it fits right into the role of being a gang interventionist. And I know larger cities have a gang problem. You were from a smaller town. How was that in your community with regards to gangs or people just not getting along, Jim?
So early on in my career, we had a lot of the Hispanic gangs were in Detroit in the early 90s, and they did migrate down to these communities into Lincoln Park, Allen Park, and eventually down into Trenton and Brownstown. So we did have a gang presence. It wasn't too big of a problem, but we were having gang related activity, violence, drugs, some of those challenges in the early 90s. Detroit had significant challenges back then, and mostly in Southwest Detroit. It was, some of those gangs basically destroyed a couple of those neighborhoods over there.
Because that was back in the crack epidemic, wasn't it? About that time.
It was around then, about in the same, a little later than the crack epidemic. I think a lot of those gang activity, it came over from Chicago and the West Coast. Most of the gangs in Detroit, the Latino gangs came from Chicago and migrated to Detroit. Yeah. The Latin
yeah,
kings,
yeah. Oh, so y'all had the major Hispanic presence in your community then.
Yes, downriver is more Hispanic, more into Lincoln Park and Equerst and that area, but they did come down to Trenton, and Brownstown had some all the way down to probably into Monroe County.
Oh wow! I want to thank Jill Sheridan for joining us this evening. Ronald Hinkle Sr., Edward A., and looks to be a new viewer. I have not seen this person on my show or the regular production of Detroit in Black and White on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Pina Cotton, on purpose. Thanks for joining us.
We have seen Pima. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. And then Mr. 1213, who is a regular without a doubt on all aspects of the Detroit in Black and White production. And I want to welcome into the studio Captain Tanya Leonard, who is the Director of Community Relations for the City of Detroit Police Department. And thanks for joining me this evening, Captain Leonard.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Brown. It's
the pleasure. The pleasure's all ours.
Well, thank you so much.
And I know I had Jalen Bradley on a couple of weeks ago. He works in the deputy mayor's office. He talked about Peacenik, and Peacenik is the Detroit Police Department initiative along with the city of Detroit. And at this present time, it could not have come at a more needed time. And I want you to explain to our audience what exactly is Peacenik and what was the vision to get this started.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Well, this is our third year doing the Peacenik. It's a partnership that we do with the U.S. Attorney's Office in years past, along with our federal, state, and local partners. And it's just our way of being able to wrap our arms around the community. You often hear those buzz phrases like bridging the gap and being able to extend outreach and community relations with our community. We often say that we're one Detroit. We all come from community. Well, this is a way to do that. It's not just about going out and doing enforcement actions, traffic stops and, criminal engagements and things like that. It's also about wrapping our arms around the community, providing those resources, providing those services and connections, those coordinations of care, jobs. Some people need after school care. It's about connecting with our youth, letting them know that we are there for them and that we care. We see them. Not only are they our future, they are our right now. So in order for them to know that, we have to connect with them in that way. So we have things out there, anything from as small as a toddler all the way up to adults and those in between. We try to make sure that our programming, like with bounce houses and free food, everything's free. We have Pistons partners that come and partner with us sometimes, football from the Detroit Lions and other camps that come and they want to partner with us through PAL and some of our other programming under our Chief's Neighborhood Liaison and Office of Workplace and Community Resiliency. When you say words like that and you're concerned about the resiliency of the community, you have to actually show it. So the vision of the chief, along with our mayor and the U.S. attorney was, okay, we want to show and be able to extend those opportunities, be able to expose people, because often one will say, well, we didn't know that you had these resources. We didn't know that you had recreation center activity that was available to us. We didn't know that if we needed mental health support and services, that you had that, or how to connect with that. We didn't know that you had Project Clean Slate if you needed that, or if you needed to get your driver's license, Secretary of State will be out there, or maybe you might want to learn to play chess, or maybe you just might want to come out and just hear music and have a good time. It's about all of that.
And I came last year to the east side. I know in the years past, it's been one on the east side, one on the west side. And it was an amazing, phenomenal event to see so many people, so many organizations, so many nonprofits, because the tent with the nonprofits and the school, DPS, as well as some of the Detroit charter schools. I mean, it just was an amazing event. Then all the free food that is given away and the basketball games that took place between law enforcement and the citizens of Detroit. And also I have Jim Nardoni, who's the former chief of police in Trenton. I asked him to join me this evening for the show because he has a great perspective when it comes to policing. So Jim meets Captain Leonard. Captain Leonard meet Jim.
Hi, Captain Leonard. Nice to meet you. I have
Nice
a couple
to
questions
meet you.
for you. If I could,
Absolutely.
number one, tell us how you ended up in your role in the police department and how you transitioned from probably working the road to that position you're in now.
Absolutely. So I have 30 years of service with DPD, and I've worked everything from patrol operations to special enforcement at organized crime to recruiting to investigations. I've worked in administration. I've just about worked in every tier. And my greatest joy has been working with the community. And in every lane that I've worked in my career over the 3 decades, I've always had a connection to the community. I always volunteer for programs with the department. I've done it in my private life. So it just, when the opportunity came and I was able to interview for it, at that time, our retired chief selected me, and I was grateful for the opportunity. I must tell you that, but the role that I'm in now, specifically in what we do as outreach, community resiliency and engagement, that came about out of COVID. That was born out of COVID. I was one of 3 that was selected to be on our COVID action team. As we know, all of us, it certainly touched everybody in the world. And when law enforcement agencies we had to gear up, prepare, brace for that because had never dealt with anything like that. So we started something called the COVID Action Team, and me and my partners, we were tasked with coming up with our programming and proposals as to how we would go about doing that. So through our work with that, with our partners, federal, state, and local, our other agencies within our community, as well as our other city partners, that really kind of spearheaded everything that you kind of see now, or even the expansion of things, because of course we had to learn how to shelter in place. People had to redefine how they do things, and so a lot of programming was born out of that, and thus we get here now, and it's
So
been
you built, I'm
amazing.
sorry.
Yeah.
So you built this from the ground up is what you're telling us, right?
Well, I won't say that because as we know, law enforcement is a machine that's been around for hundreds of years. So I won't say that, but I will say from the point in which I joined, we have expanded and added so many more things like our mental health co-response team, our unsheltered population response team. Those are some of our newest things that we've added to our community outreach and engagement.
And Karen Winston salutes you, as we all salute you, for your career and your accomplishments. Thank you for being part of that resurgence out there. But I'm going to give you the tough question now, if I may.
You may.
So, our Vanessa Moss was involved in Mac Alive in the last week, and Eric may have been too. But, we've had some viewers that basically said these programs don't bring the community together or change the bottom line issues. I disagree with that. Can you tell our viewers why you might disagree with that? Why the naysayers may be wrong?
I think they're wrong. I think that any opportunity that you have to engage the community we should take it. There are so many different tracks, from our faith-based community to Parks and Recs, right? To our other programming that we have. Every opportunity that you can reach a young person, you should. And it does make it work, because otherwise there wouldn't be that opportunity to connect with that person. Each interaction that a law enforcement officer has with a member in the community is either a deposit into the bank of trust or withdrawal. Every interaction is important and can set the trajectory or the perception of those that we encounter for years and years to come. It also can have an opportunity perhaps to repair, because we don't always get it right? I mean, that's just in everything. But with that, though, we are able to connect. We're able to show the resources, show the care, show the human side of the badge, be able to provide people coordination to care and other services that might be out there that will assist them in being resilient in their families and our community. Because at the end of the day, regardless of our profession that we've chosen that we love, right, we're all community. If you take it back to grassroots, to the baseline, we all come from community. And so that would be the thing that I would want everyone to take away from that. And so for me, I think it does work. I think that we have to continue our campaign and getting the education out, making the community aware of what's available, how they can connect. We should go to them and they should be able to connect with us.
And that was a good segue, Jim, question to the next question from one of our viewers. Again, you're watching Detroit in Black and White presents Reality Strikes with Eric Brown. Joining me as co-host Jim Nardoni from the regular Detroit in Black and White podcast. So we have a question from a viewer, Captain Leonard, on purpose. He's asking, has the mistrust of the police department diminished?
I would say that's a very big question to answer. From my perspective, I would say that we have a strong relationship with the community. I think that I can't say as an absolute that the mistrust is diminished overall, but I think that we have a strong support with our CVI groups, with our ceasefire groups, with other community organizations that we interact with all of our partners, both local, state, and federal, those that are internal partners, external partners, our business community, our neighborhood community block clubs, our radio CB patrols, our our reserve program, our chaplain program, our faith-based. Like we go in those areas, the school districts, the after-school programs, the rec centers. We try to be everywhere with our program and our Cooling with Cops that we do through PAL. We just opened a rec center for them that'll be open to the public, for everyone. So I think that we have made great strides. One thing about our agency and our current chief Bettison and our retired chief White, they were very big on making sure that the community knew that transparency. Again, in law enforcement, just like any other profession, people don't always get it right. But the important thing is that if we get it wrong or we do something that is inaccurate, being able to first own it and address it and hold those accountable for their actions that are doing it. And so we do that. But at the same time, we try to show, and like I said, connect with the community and show the positive sides and those interactions and those things that hopefully we're making those good deposits in the bank of trust.
I guess Vanessa caught me talking about her, didn't
she? And also, I'm not sure if you can see the screen, Captain Leonard, but, viewers have questions and comments, and Karen Winston has another question for you. You may or may not be able to answer it, but I do feel that the green lights is an asset for the community to get involved. And so she's asking, has the state-of-the-art crime center help drive down crime and or help to solve crime using our surveillance and green light technology?
Absolutely. I think that the technology that we have of today that we're able to utilize through our green light technology, our crime intelligence unit, our real-time crime center, absolutely has been able to aid us in being able, through our shot spotter, being able, when that rings out, us being able to respond with our virtual patrol watching and being able to alert our dispatch and communication team so that we can get a unit over there right away, versus it taking someone in previous days in the past. It had to happen. You had to call 911. 911 had to then take the call. Call has to go over to dispatch. Dispatch has to then dispatch a unit, right? Whereas all of that still takes place. But if those shots rang out in that example, we can send a car right over there and pinpoint the area that it's happening in. That absolutely has been able to allow us to be able to react and get there in real time, quickly. Also been able to resolve and solve some crimes. I absolutely think the technology that comes out of our real-time crime center has aided us with not only our patrol operations, but our investigative operations. And believe it or not, even with our community relations, it really, some communities are very happy about it. They speak about the safety that they feel being able to walk the block, being able to go to some of the stores or businesses that have the green lights. So I absolutely think so.
Go ahead, Jim, if you have another question or a comment.
I do. On Purpose is one of our frequent contributors, Captain. And, he and I go back and forth a little bit on policing, of course. I think somebody's had some negative experience with DPD. And I'd like to ask you, and as I always communicate to him, I was in a couple of task force, and the Detroit police officers I worked with were world class. They were some of the best investigators I've ever met in my life. And they follow the Constitution. If they wrote a search warrant, they did the right thing. They went, they did everything by the book. So that's my experience. His experience is a little bit different. What do you say to someone that has negative experiences with the Detroit Police Department? How do we move forward with those residents?
I would love for them to come. We also have a unit under me called Procedural Justice and Police Legitimacy, where we do restorative practices. We have police community summits that we move around the city. We reach out to our Office of Chief Investigator, which usually investigates complaints for people that may have had a negative interaction with our members on the department, and we invite them to come to these summits. We invite those members, those officers that may be involved in that negative interaction, and we have a very courageous dialogue about what happened in that incident. We look at the body worn camera footage. We may even show it. We do. I don't want to tip off everything that we do because I would love for you all to come and attend, and I don't want to take the surprise away. But I will tell you, when you come, we're able to have those, because that's the only way we move forward. Again, none of us are perfect in any of the professions that we're in. There are going to be times when people get it wrong, but when they get it wrong, we need to right that wrong, and we need
I mean,
to.
that's I'm sorry, that's his perception.
Yeah.
I want to correct it. He said he hasn't had a negative contact with DPD, but he's impacted by others, and that impacts his perception of the Detroit Police Department, right? Or any other police agency.
Absolutely. Well, I would encourage and welcome them to come. Anyone, please come. We would love for you to come to our police community summits. We have them all around the city in every precinct, and it's a great time. We usually do it on Saturdays. It's about 6 hours, and we go through procedural justice and police legitimacy through restorative practice, because the thing is, everyone has to have a voice. It helps our officers and that maybe new officers, those mid-range officers, and even veteran officers, but it also helps the community to understand officers and why maybe we do some of the things we do in law enforcement, right? Some of our protocols and procedures, or why we reacted in a way, but it also allows the officers to understand how their interaction, maybe their verbiage, their disposition, their posture might be impacting the community. And from there, we're able to grow. It helps us to formulate and look at how we might go with policy recommendations in the future. We take things back to the chief. Oftentimes he stops by and he's able to have those conversations with our citizens directly. So I think that that's one way to do it. And certainly if anyone has had a negative interaction where they feel that they've been wronged by an action of ours, they definitely have the right to reach out to our Office of Chief Investigator and make a complaint, and we'll investigate it from there. And if it's found to be factual, then we'll take the necessary steps and action. And if it's not, even at that, we still would want you to come to the summit, because maybe it didn't rise to the level of the officer was found guilty, but maybe still that it's a learning opportunity for the officer or other members. So we still would encourage, it takes all of us to make it right.
In the next question, I'm going to combine two questions, Captain Leonard, because they pretty much serve along the same lines. Miss Sheila is asking about the Blue Pigs, and Mr. 1213 is asking about whether or not, with all the issues going on right now with young people, will DPD be holding assemblies at these high schools to discuss gang violence? And it's interesting, Miss Sheila, she talks about the Blue Pigs. That was around when I was in elementary and middle school, and they were very popular. And I think I was at some event. Someone was talking about them possibly coming back. Can you deny or confirm that rumor?
Oh, Mr. Brown, don't let the cat out the bag. Yes, that is something that is on the horizon. Chief has definitely been talking about the reemergence of the 2025 Blue Pigs. So yes, stay tuned. More to come in that area, because they definitely had an impact in the community, and many people have reached out to us with the request of them coming back. So we are working at that, and so more to come on that. As it relates to the second question with Mr. 123, as it relates to DPD and holding assemblies in the high schools to discuss game. As a matter of fact, today was first day back at school, right? So we had many of our teams that were out there that were welcoming, clapping kids back into school, engaging with them. Just over the weekend, this past weekend, we had our CVI Basketball League Championship, and several of the youth that may be connected to organized groups, not necessarily gangs, but maybe, some of them may have been in the area or been there, or may have been, at that game. And so we were able to speak to them. We were able to give them positive direction and reinforcement, and let them know that we're there for them, give them some positive thoughts on how to start the school year, and then to let them know we will stay engaged with them throughout the entire school year. We have through Ceasefire, we have our Brotherhood and Sisterhood, which is a mentorship program, which also falls under our umbrella here. And we go into every school. We have every school that's a part of the program, and we go in and we're mentors with them both for the sisterhood and the brotherhood throughout the school year. And then over the summer, we have some type of summer programming. We work with DPSCD. We also have other mentoring programs under our umbrella. We have City Camp, which deals with the middle school age youth. We have our junior police cadets. We have our explorers program. We have DPD prep. So we have a lot of different lanes in which we try to interact with the youth. And we work in collaboration with DPSCD to address just what you speak of. In addition to that, our CVI groups that are connected in each of those zones where those schools might be, us along with them and Ceasefire, we go in often and address in the school assemblies, the after school programs, and other things to talk to the youth about youth violence, about gun violence as a whole, staying on the right track, choosing your friends wisely, what's going on with gang violence and organized groups and things like that. That is something that we do yearly around the clock.
So we have a question. Edward's out there, Captain Leonard, asking about, first, our very own Vanessa Moss asked about collaborations with other policing agencies and what you do in reaching out to young people. Maybe you could just touch on that. And then, is our federal government directed the National Guard to help us? How would you use them? Unfortunately, Edward, the National Guard, that's the problem with the National Guard. Any help that comes into the city of Detroit, in my opinion, should be working through the chief's office, but that's not how the National Guard works. So if you could just briefly touch on both of those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So we work with our federal, local, and state partners. We do collaborate with other police, our police partners, with the county as well. We work with our sheriff's department closely. We just, as a matter of fact, this past Saturday, the Michigan State Police, Department of Natural Resources, DPD, we had a basketball with a cop at Wayne State University at their field house. And what that was the troopers came down, they brought their grills, they brought basketballs, the Pistons came, their coaches, and they brought backpacks. We had a backpack giveaway, and we invited youth in from all around the city to come and play basketball with the officers. We gave them food, we gave them school supplies, backpacks, basketballs. We even had a raffle, so people had an opportunity to win basketball rims for their homes and things like that. And so that's one of the things that we do. That's a collaboration. We do several other things, like even as we discussed at the top of the call with the Peacenik. That's one of the things behind that, right? Is being able to show the collaboration that we do. But we don't just do it, and those are the events and things that we do, but we also go out in partnership in addressing this with the different schools. We do it through the summits, like I shared. We do it through some of our other assemblies and programming that we have. So we are dedicated to this collaboration. Then we also have nonprofits that we work with and philanthropists. We also have our downtown business partnership and our midtown partnership and the other partnerships around town within our business community and our residential community with all of the different block clubs. We work with Mr. Stokes, who is over Citywide Block Club Association. We work in tandem with a lot of these different groups to be able to reach as many people as we can in their respective circles of influence. So absolutely. As it relates to the National Guard, well, we would hope that the National Guard would not have to come, right? Because then that's turning into something else. Usually when they come, it's at a state where we are in a state of chaos, and we have reached a certain threshold in which we need that type of presence in our community to be able to assist us and support us in restoring order or keeping the order. And so we would hope through our Homeland Security efforts, our partnership with all of our local agencies that surround us, that we would be able to contain and not have to level to that. However, in the event that we have a situation that happens within our community, our city, that rises to that level, we definitely have those things in place through our incident command that would bring in all of those collaborative partners to be able to address it, keep public safety, and keep all of us safe.
And I think On Purpose said it best. Yo, Trump, we got this. I think he's talking about the DPD, and I couldn't agree more.
And also, also Captain Leonard, before you go, you mentioned CVI a few times, and the next guest, Mr. Thompson, he's very involved as a community interventionist. Can you explain to the audience what CVI is all about?
Yes. So our CVI, that's our violence reduction program that we have, where we've brought in groups that are doing that work within the community, doing violence interruptions, right? Like Detroit 300, you may have heard of them, Force Detroit, Live in Peace, friends and family. So different area code, different zip codes, different zones and sectors within the city, different precincts, if you will. They have different groups that are violence interrupters that have a circle of influence and impact in that community, and they go in and they're helped to drive the violence down. They interact with those individuals that might be engaging in the violence, driving the violence, connected to the violence, know who is driving the violence. They get involved. They go out, they interact with them. They help us to bring some of that to a close, if you will. They also provide resources and services, because oftentimes if you are those that engage in that type of violence, a lot of times there's what we call a pattern of life, right? Where there may be some traumas, unresolved traumas that might be going on in that family. There might be some barriers. There might be some obstacles. There might be some really deep-rooted needs, and etc. So they are able to connect with those families, and they are able to do case assessments, find out what is happening with that, for those that might be victims of that violence, as well as of those that might be connected to that violence. And their goal and overarching is to interrupt the violence. If there are associate gangs, or as we would call them, or organized groups that might have what they call a beef, a disagreement one with the other, that would be what would be precipitating that violence, that might be causing them to shoot or commit some of these crimes that are happening. They go in and try to resolve them through de-escalation techniques and conversations, and hopefully to try to resolve them, do conflict resolution, so that it doesn't precipitate that next act of violence. They try to interrupt that. They also assist with relocation of families that might have been victims of that violence, so that it doesn't continue and the retaliation doesn't happen. So they do lots of things like that and more. They work with us in law enforcement, both locally as well as federal, state, and county, to be able, sometimes it's a task force effort, bringing in the information through Real-Time Crime Center, connecting with the school districts, connecting with the courts, connecting with juvenile if it involves youth, all of those sorts of kinds of things, to be able to interrupt that violence.
And I want to thank you, Captain Leonard. Definitely have to get you on again. And, we always have great conversations whenever I am in the same room or in your presence. You're doing an amazing job, and keep up the good work. You represent women, Black women, particularly well with regard to your role. And I want to thank you, as well as Chief Bettison, for the opportunity to have you come on to talk to our audience about PSNCC and all that you do to improve the community relations with the Detroit Police Department and the citizens.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown, for having me on behalf of Chief Bettison.
You're welcome.
I was honored that he allowed me to come. It was really good to meet you, Jim, and really enjoyed talking with the audience, and I hope you will have me back again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. And next we have coming on the stage is Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson is a CVI, as you can see, gang interventionist, and I met him this past week, actually, over at the grand opening for the Dome, and was impressed with the conversation. And I was like, let me take this opportunity, since I was going to have Captain Leonard on to talk about Peacenik, to have Mr. Thompson come on and talk about the role that he does in the community and why it means so much to him, in addition to him sharing his life experience that led him role. So I want to welcome you to the show, Curtis, as well as introduce you to former chief of police in the Trenton, Michigan community, Jim Nardoni, who's serving as my co-host this evening.
Nice to meet you tonight.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So tell the audience what it is that you do.
Can you check your mic there, sir? We're not getting any sound. Yeah, it looks like your mic is silenced.
Yeah, you muted right now, Mr. Thompson.
Hey, turn your volume up a little bit, maybe. Still not getting anything. Maybe sign
up.
on.
Initially. Yeah, try going out and coming back in, Mr. Thompson, see if that works.
We got a little something there. We got a little something.
Yeah, in the meantime, Jim, while Mr. Thompson works that out, that was a great interview with Captain Leonard. And as the viewers can attest, they really enjoyed it. On purpose, stated that she represents DPD well. And there were other comments from Miss Winston, Karen Winston, as well as Miss Sheila. They enjoyed the interview. And I think it's important that we have. Right.
I'm sorry, Karen's a area of the city of Detroit, so I wish I'd have mentioned that to the captain.
Oh, okay.
Are you with us, Mr. Thompson? Still nothing. We're getting nothing from you.
Yeah, try and go out and come back in, Mr. Thompson.
Something silenced. Your mic went off and on, but maybe if you sign out and come right back in.
Yeah, because I don't have you on mute, so yeah, it's on your end.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to Mr. Thompson. You know, he's got an exit strategy for young people with that are involved in gang activity. I want to hear it from him, but it's fascinating.
Right. In addition to,
back to Captain Leonard, we need more. I'm sorry. I think
go ahead, John.
Your screen is frozen to your video. We're getting your audio fine, Eric, but your video looks like your screen is frozen.
That's weird. We need more. I see myself.
I can see you. Are you moving? Yeah. We need more communication, and Captain Leonard seems like she's the person that can get the communication out into the community. So I think we need more of that. People need to have an understanding. On Purpose did not have any challenges with the DPD, but his perception based on, whether it's family contact or friend contact, that still affects people, and it makes them feel uncomfortable with the police agency.
Oh, no doubt. Negative experience, be it the person's personally, or a family member or a friend, yeah, that negative experience impacts everybody. Yeah, that definitely goes without saying.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, no problem. But can you tell Jim has quite a few questions for you, but before you do that, I know your story, and I didn't want to steal your thunder by talking about it as I, promoted this show. So tell the audience about your story, and then tell them. No, just tell your story first, and then Jim has some questions for you.
Okay. Yeah, you still can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about the technical difficulties. My name is Cortez Thompson. A little bit about me. I grew up here in the city of Detroit, originally from the east side of Detroit off 7 Mile and I-75 area, and lived part of my life on the west side near Greenfield and Finkel, Greenfield and Puritan area. I grew up to a single mother who dealt with her own issues, as well as my father with addictions at an early age, when I was early in my age. And I got involved in the gangs. I ended up joining a gang as a teenager known as the Vice Lords. And what came with gang life was streets and drugs and eventually prison. I went to prison at 19 for several years, for 7.5 years, in which I came home from state prison, Michigan Department of Corrections in 2016. At 2016, when I came home, I tried to get my life together, but I wasn't quite ready to straighten up. And I eventually ended up getting indicted in 2021 on a RICO charge, which was the largest racketeering conspiracy charge in Detroit history with the Vice Lords. I was a gang leader for over a decade, and I served 4 years on the Vice Lord RICO, and I just was released 5 months ago. Yep. So I just was released 5 months ago. Throughout my incarceration, I dropped my affiliation with the Vice Lords, and I made it my business to right my wrongs and become a gang interventionist. I began to mentor fellow inmates around me, reaching out to the community with community leaders, with other CVI groups, ministers and chaplains, clergy members in the city of Detroit, because I wanted to come home and, do the work of, a positive work, understanding that I led many people in the wrong direction. I wanted to right my wrongs and lead people in the right direction. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing the work as a gang interventionist. Currently, I work with the People's Action, which is one of the several CVI groups. The People's Action is a group who operates on the west side of Detroit, in the Greenfield 7 Mile area, which is the area that I also grew up in. I'm a mentor. I'm an outreach worker with the People's Action, and I currently just came on board to assist in the juvenile diversion program with Wayne County juveniles.
Okay, that's good, impressive. Yeah, I wanted you to tell that story as opposed to me putting it out there, because it came best from you, because people could tell their own story the best. Jim, you had a few questions?
Yeah, I do. Congratulations on your transformation, and congratulations for moving away from the Vice Lords. I don't think people understand. It's kind of, I'll compare it to the mob or the mafia. Making that break is a big deal. Can you tell people how hard that was for you?
It was very hard. To be honest, it was more so hard personally, just to mentally get over, to even be able to physically say out my mouth, I'm no longer a Vice Lord. That was a mental thing that was very heavy for me. Being a Vice Lord for over 15 years, you learn to be loyal to a fault to the gang, even despite what your current situation is. I've served, like I said, I've served over 12 years incarcerated, state and federal. I've been shot multiple times. I even been shot in my face with today I carry a bullet in my face lodged in my sinus cavity. So even despite, going through so many things, I still never turned my back from the gang after, so long. And, I've lost my sister to gang violence from a gang member who was murdered in 2018, just a month prior to
Sorry
me.
to hear that.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
our
you.
condolences on that.
Thank you. But one thing I want to say about my sister's murder, her murder didn't go in vain. My sister Starkeisha Thompson, who was murdered, Dana Nessel actually proposed and got a bill passed, the Attorney General. It's called the Starkeisha Thompson's bill. And that bill is to protect victims and witnesses' information. My sister's perpetrator was able to get her information to her home throughout the court process. And sadly, he sent one of his gang friends to murder my sister in her driveway for her testimony of him robbing her and carjacking her. Yeah.
Let's say her name one more time. Sharkeisha.
Starkeisha Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're thank you. Please show that. My next statement is we're glad you're still here, but you're not here without being wounded. You lose your sister and you never change. You never get over that. It's something that you'll have to live with the rest of your life, sadly, and I feel for you on that. So
thank you. Ahead. Thank you. I definitely appreciate my life has been ups and downs, but now I'm just focused on trying to give back so that young guys and people in general don't have to go through what I've been through, serving over a decade in prison, being shot multiple times. It's not a life to live.
So kids don't show up on, like I always say, they don't show up on the street corner at 13 with an AR-15 or a Glock 9mm. Things happen that make them arrive at that spot. And now they're in the gang. They're not leaving because everybody wants to belong to somebody or something, and the gang becomes the family, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So tell us about the exit strategy, how you are able to convince young people that their best path is leaving the gang and starting a new life.
Well, just by being an example to show that change is possible. I'm somebody that was knee deep in it, and I was a leader within the Vice Source for a long time. So just be an example, doing what I'm doing now, showing children that, you can turn your life around, despite, what's being taken from you with, loss or time. So just being an example, that's what I feel is the best way, and awareness to be able to talk about, my life story, what I've been through. I feel like that's, the greatest example to show someone what not to do. I carry a bullet in my face. So, even though I got shot years ago, I still go through complications with the bullet wound and everything like that. So I think just being able to talk to the youth, show them that, I look like you. I come from the same places that you come from, and I've experienced a lot of the same things that you experience. So just show them that they're not alone. A lot of the peer pressures that go on within the community, we have to deal with it together. And if the youth don't have anyone to talk to that they can trust and they can believe, then they'll go through it alone.
So our very own Vanessa Moss is weighing in. She's an attorney here in Detroit, and she asked a couple of questions. What point did you decide to turn your life around? And there was another one. Have you suffered any repercussions from turning from your gang away from your gang life?
So the point that I decided to step away was the day that I was incarcerated on June 3rd, 2021. I found myself indicted with 39 other individuals, and I only knew about 9 of them.
Over on the east side, right?
Excuse me?
Was that over on the east side, Mr. Thompson?
I'm from the east side, but they had raids all over the city of Detroit. They pull guys from the east side, the west side, the outskirts of the city of Detroit. They also grab people from Chicago and in Michigan State Prison. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it was a big indictment. And like I said, out of 40 people, I only knew about 8 or 9 individuals. And the way the feds work is a little bit different. Me being used to the state where, 9 tenths is basically, the law. You get caught with something, you go down for it. Well, the feds work a little bit different. So I was charged with conspiracy to commit racketeering and conspiracy to distribute controlled substance. I was not charged with distribution of any substance. I was not charged with possession of any substance or of any weapon. So I was held responsible for what a lot of my co-defendants were doing. And that's just something that I couldn't fathom the day that I was arrested, and they were saying that I was facing up to life in prison and a mandatory minimum of 10 years for something that essentially I didn't even know about or didn't even know the individuals. So to me, that just seemed crazy to me. I didn't understand that. So that day, me being cuffed, taken in by the ATF and other government agencies, I made the hard decision to step away.
And on purpose, he states spiritual hug to you, my brother. And then we have, I think Edward A. Has a comment. Yeah, it was Edward.
Welcome back to life. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think we underestimate the courage, that your personal courage after losing your sister and being shot. And it would have been way easier just to continue on doing what you were doing. I mean, you might have spent more time behind bars, but the courage that you have, I have to applaud that. I think that's commendable.
Thank you. Thank you. I get my strength from God. And it takes, dissatisfaction to bring about a change. And I totally was dissatisfied with my condition. At the time of my arrest, my only son was 3 years old, and I had and still have joint custody with my son's mother. But having my son from day one, when he came with my son's mother womb, I fell in love with my son. That was a different type of love. That love, my son was born the same year that my sister was killed. So it was hard being locked up and being told that I'm about to look at all this time and understanding my son not gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here for my son. That just killed me. So I had to make a change. Not only for myself but for my family as well.
So your son's 7 now, or about to be 7?
He's 7. I just took him to his first day of second grade. This is the first time I was able to take my son to his first day. So today was a big day for me.
Oh, wow.
I was emotional and everything. So God, works in mysterious ways. He brought me back to my family.
It is often talked about how people in your role, interventionists, gang interventionists, crime interventionists, it's a need to speak to kids that are going down a wayward path. I'm of the position, you speak to all kids, good kids or bad, because we all know someone who might be on that wrong road, and a good friend can speak to that friend and tell them you need to turn your life around. So I've already extended an invitation to you to come speak to our youth group, and we'll make that arrangement once we start back in the next month. But, we have some good kids, but I can guarantee you they know some not so good kids. So hearing your words that will resonate with them so they could go talk to their friends will also be powerful. In addition to quite a few people talk about you going into the schools to speak to students, which I'm sure your CVI group does anyway. So I applaud you for all that you're doing. I can only imagine how emotional it was for you on the first day of school to be able to take your son to school on his first day when they do the clap in and all that. So I applaud you.
Thank you. It's a blessing, man. This is the reward. So I'm definitely thankful that I did choose to do what I did, because had I not, I probably wouldn't be here.
So tell us about your shirt and your hat. Unfortunately, my tired eyes can't read. I can read the acronym, but that's all I can see. Can you tell us a little bit about your shirt?
Okay, yeah. So my shirt says "Put your people on," PYPO. This is actually my clothing business, my company. I started it a few years ago before I was indicted. And put your people on. It's self-explanatory. That's what I'm doing now. The work of putting your people on. So putting your people on can be in different ways. It can be through correct knowledge. It can be through healthy food. It can be through intervention. In crime and in gangs. That's how we put our people on, man, and give them the best knowledge and best wisdom to be able to better themselves in their lives and the lives of other people. Thank you, Ms. Sheila.
And then also on purpose had a comment, well, question, not a comment, asking how are local gangs formed?
Okay, so that's a good question. Local gangs are formed in many different ways, actually. Nowadays, untraditional, non-traditional gangs, like the neighborhood groups that claim gangs or three-letter gangs as they call them nowadays with the younger guys, which would be a little different from, say, the Bloods or the Crips or the GDs or the Vice Lords, the national gangs that got a big attention. So it could easily be some guys on their neighborhood from their particular block that's claiming 7 Mile, or it could be a little more. It could be a little more intricate with like a Blood set or a Vice Lord set. But any group of people, understand, any group of people that come together is considered a gang. Now, depending on what their purpose is or why they're forming and coming together, that kind of also determines on what actually is a gang activity. But just a group of guys, man, looking to band together for whatever reason. But unfortunately, it'd be for a lot of negative reasons, because people don't hold each other accountable or responsible for laws or things of that nature that a lot of these gangs supposed to abide by.
So I said in the earlier segment, we need to hear more from people like Captain Leonard and the DPD and people that are involved in policing. But we also need to hear more from people like you, Mr. Thompson, that have traveled a path that you made some mistakes. We all make mistakes. Some of us pay a bigger price than other people when we make mistakes, and you've paid a huge price for being affiliated with the Vice Lords. But we need to hear from you as much as we need to hear from the police or anybody else. And I hope that you continue to spread that message.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I plan to do. And that's also why I wrote my book, because I understand that, I can't touch, or I can't, everybody won't be able to hear my voice and understand my story of redemption. So that's why while I was incarcerated, I said, I'm not going to let the feds write my story and let that be it. When you type my name up prior to me publishing my book, my record came up, and I got 6 felonies and state convictions and federal convictions, and I don't want the government to write my story. So I wanted to write my own story. So I wrote my first book and published it 2 weeks ago. It's called "Dropping My Flag, Picking Up My Life." It's a memoir, and I wrote this book just to be able to give voice to reason. And yes, it's online right now on Amazon. And I wrote my book, like I said, just to be able to stop young guys from going through what I went through. It took a lot from me.
We'll put that on all our Facebook pages. I'll work with our producer Teresa and see if we can't get some of your information out there so people know where they can read your book, where they can learn about your life. And somebody's asking about your apparel, where we can buy your apparel. So
yeah, so you can also buy my apparel. PutYourPeopleOn.com, PutYourPeopleOn.com, and the same on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow that as well.
So if they're looking for you, they should be able to find you out
Oh
there.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, so that's.
So I want to thank you. Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, no, so yeah, I just wanted to say that's the reason why I wrote my book. And you know, it's not just for someone who's looking to straighten their life out or get out of gangs. It's for anyone who's looking to drop, you know, something that's holding them down. You know, anything that's like gravity, whether if it's addiction, something I've been through personally, you know, abuse or even trauma. You know, if you're looking for ways to be able to pick your life up, it's definitely a good read.
So I definitely want to thank you, Mr. Thompson. Got to get you back on the show, even the Saturday show, and also have to get you in front of, you know, my youth group so you can talk to them. Again, they are a very well-grounded group, but I can assure you they all know someone that is not as grounded as themselves. So thank you for your time, and we'll be talking soon because, again, Miss Sheila hit the nail on the head. Thank God for your ability to be an inspiration and a great impact to your son and our youth today. So again, I want to echo her words and say thank you.
I appreciate it. And I want to thank all of you guys for allowing me to come over here and tell my story. And I just want to say, man, keep supporting the CBI groups. They're giving people like me an opportunity to come in and change young guys' lifestyles, you know, and lifestyles that could lead them into, you know, prison or, you know, killing someone. We see what's going on right now with a lot of the violence in the community, and it's just unacceptable. And it's us that live in the community and that played a part in the violence at one point in time to be able to, you know, combat that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And we, you know, again, I have you back and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. So I want to thank both of our guests tonight, Captain Leonard, Director of the Community Relations Department for the Detroit Police Department, as well as Mr. Cortez Thompson, a gang interventionist. And I want to thank you, Jim, for joining me this evening as a co-host. And to all our viewers and listeners and watchers and commenters, I want to thank you all for listening to Detroit in Black and White Presents Reality Strikes of Eric Brown. Enjoy your upcoming holiday weekend. Peacenik is on Saturday at Skinner Park. Skinner Park is on the east side of Detroit near Denby High School. And the significance of Peacenik being at Skinner Park, that's the location where the 4-year-old, 18-year-old young man was killed earlier this summer. So as a tribute to those two young men, they're going to bring peace to that park on August 30th, Saturday from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. So again, thank you all for listening. You have Detroit in Black and White coming at you again on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday with Adolph Mongo, Jim Nardoni, Alan Lango, and Vanessa Moss, and produced by Lady T. Teresa. So again, good evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next Monday, well, actually next Monday is Labor Day. So until the 8th of September, which is 2 weeks from today, I won't be doing a show on Labor Day. Good night.